After being reborn, the first thing I did was drag my girlfriend to get forbidden tattoos. She got Jingwei, I got Pangu. Her whole back was the Nine Heavens goddess, while my chest was the Eastern Emperor Tai Yi. I even used her 20 million in savings to buy an abandoned prison. Everyone laughed at her, calling her the ultimate T0 love-brained girlfriend, because soon, a blood moon would descend worldwide. Heaven and earth would mutate, and every living creature would evolve. Even an ordinary ant could instantly become a 100-meter beast. Even a single weed could grow into a towering tree. By then, countless humans would become food in their stomachs. But those with tattoos were shocked to discover that the tattoos on their skin awakened too. Someone tattooed the 10 kings of hell and became the lord of all ghosts. Someone else tattooed the divine beast Keelan, transformed into a sacred beast, and guarded an entire region. In my past life, I had no tattoos at all, so I became livestock at the very bottom. Now that I was reborn 2 months before the apocalypse, I spent a fortune hiring hundreds of the world's top tattoo artists. I walked to the window, looked at the clear blue sky, and couldn't help sighing. This is probably the last chance to enjoy it. Once midnight on June 1st arrives, the whole world will be covered in a thick layer of haze. There are still 2 months left before the mutation of heaven and earth. It should be enough time to build a large shelter. Once the mutation arrives, every living creature will become unbelievably powerful, and humans will barely have anywhere left to survive. In the early apocalypse, building a shelter is the best choice. Then I picked up my phone and made a call. "Hello, Chairman. What are your orders?" A middle-aged man's voice came through the phone. "Check whether there are any abandoned large prisons for sale in Longjiang City. After my parents passed away, they left me Hengyu Group, which operated in several industries. Real estate was one of them. The man on the phone was Jiang Tuo, the general manager in charge of the real estate division. Chairman, as far as I know, there are 2. One is in the Gobi area in the western suburbs. It covers more than 500,000 square meters, even bigger than Tiananmen Square in the capital. It seems to be from the last century, and the current asking price is 700 million. That's the one, I cut him off. That barren area in the western suburbs is perfect. Chairman, are you planning to, Jiang Tuo asked in confusion, contact the person in charge of that prison immediately. Buy it as fast as possible, then start construction. The walls must be at least several hundred meters high and at least 2 meters thick. Use reinforced concrete, and do the same for the ground. The underground layer and surface must also be covered with steel plates. My goal is to build a large shelter, stockpile enough supplies to feed several thousand people for at least 3 years. The more, the better. You know what to do, right? Jiang Tuo was completely stunned after hearing that. Chairman, I made a rough estimate. Based on your requirements, plus the 700 million acquisition cost, we'd need at least another 3 to 4 billion. I'll give you 10 billion. It must be completed within 50 days. If 10 billion isn't enough, call me anytime. Remember, build it into an apocalypse fortress. Money is not an issue. With the company my parents left me and my own wealth, money was nothing more than a number to me. Besides, after the mutation of heaven and earth, the United Nations would introduce a unified trading currency to stabilize the situation. By then, only things like gold would still be valuable. I had already decided to sell Hengyu Group and use the rest of my money to buy gold, grain, and oil at low prices. That's all I needed to hear, Chairman. As long as we can spend money without holding back, I'll supervise it myself. Within 50 days, I guarantee you'll see an indestructible apocalypse fortress. I'll have the finance department grant you 10 billion in spending authority first. Go handle it. The faster it's done, the better. After saying that, I hung up. The shelter arrangements were settled. Now I just had to wait for the world's top tattoo master to arrive. Then I sat down on the luxury sofa and searched online for the most powerful tattoos. In the end, I chose 10 supreme demonic tattoos. Once these tattoos were carved onto my body and awakened after the mutation, even I couldn't imagine how powerful they would become. I still remembered my past life. Those with tattoos like the Azure Dragon and Keelan all stood at the top of the planet. But among the mutated beasts, there were also beings capable of fighting them. On Mount Kunlun, there was a golden thread snake. In 1 year, it became a flood dragon. In 2 years, it became a dragon. By the 3rd year, it evolved into a golden dragon. On Mount Emi, there was a monkey king, terrifyingly powerful and almost unbeatable. All the monkeys in the world were under its rule. After the mutation, wild animals became the true rulers of the world, and countless massive beast kings began to rampage everywhere. In the early stage, humans relied on nukes and other powerful weapons for deterrence. In the later stage, they relied on tattoo awakeners for protection. That evening, a black luxury business car slowly stopped in the parking lot outside the villa. The passenger door opened, and the first person to appear was a sexy woman in a professional suit. She was tall, with long, wine-red hair. At that moment, a beautiful woman also stepped out from the backseat. "Miss Karim, this way, please." Shen Jixia stepped forward and made a welcoming gesture. Karim glanced around the surroundings before walking toward the villa. At the same time, thanks to the AI reminder, I already knew Shen Jixia and the others had arrived. A moment later, I came to the living room wearing black pajamas. "Chairman, this is Ms. Karim, a world-famous tattoo artist." "Hello, Mr. Ye Xuanchen." Karim stood up with a smile and extended her hand. I shook it, then sat down on the sofa across from her. Karim looked at me and got straight to the point. "Mr. Ye Xuanchen, what kind of tattoo would you like?" I lifted my eyes and smiled faintly. "I need 10 tattoos. Rakshasa, Yama, Evil God, Black Dragon, Grim Reaper, Asura, Chi Yu, the Monkey King, and Neja." "Mr. Ye Xuanchen, may I ask if you're superstitious?" Looking at the tattoos I wanted, even the well-traveled Kareem was shocked. I have also studied these tattoos you mentioned quite a bit. I took a sip of tea. You only need to stay focused and give me your best work. Whether I can withstand them or not is my problem. Since Mr. Yeshuanshan has already said that, I won't say anything more. You've had a long trip, ma'am. Rest for the night. We begin at noon tomorrow. How does that sound? Kareem nodded in agreement. The next afternoon, Shenjixia waited quietly outside my room. It wasn't until sunset that the door finally opened and Kareem walked out. Ma'am, how did it go? Shenjixia stepped forward and asked. Kareem nodded at her. Miss Shen, your chairman's tattoos are perfect. This was the most focused I have ever been in my life. Mr. Yeshuanshan asked me to give you a tattoo as well. Hearing that the chairman wanted her to get a tattoo too, Shenjixia froze. You must get one. My stern voice came from inside the room. Hearing the sharp tone in my voice, Shenjixia had no choice but to agree. Then give me one on my arm. Give her a female Rakshasa. Before she could finish, I interrupted her. Shenjixia stood frozen in place, then finally nodded helplessly. A moment later, I walked out of the room bare-chested. My body was already covered in tattoos. When tattoos awakened, the stronger the tattoo on your body, the stronger the pain you would suffer. With these tattoos carved into me, I might even explode and die. In my past life, I wasn't a tattoo awakener. I only knew the awakening process was somewhat painful, but now I was going all in. Succeed or die trying. Around 9 o'clock, I saw Kareem and the others off. At that moment, Shenjixia stood in the room, looking at me with confusion written all over her face. Soon you'll be grateful to me. I glanced at her, then turned and left. I had her get a tattoo only because she had followed me for 6 or 7 years and could be considered reliable. When you get back, tell finance to grant Jiang Tuo 10 billion in spending authority. Hearing that, Shenjixia wanted to ask more, but I had never liked explaining myself. I strode forward and left. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, it was May 1st, Labor Day. The prison project had been under massive construction for over 20 days. Many online media outlets reported on it, and plenty of streamers even broadcast it live. Thousands of workers worked day and night in shifts, and in just 28 days, more than 2/3 of it had been built. At this speed, if nothing went wrong, it would be finished in another 10+ days. Ordinary people only thought rich people had too much money and nowhere to spend it. No one thought a disaster was about to arrive. As for me, I ignored all outside rumors and spent the entire month working out. In my past life, I had heard that when tattoos awakened, if your body was too weak, you might not survive it. I had to adjust my condition to its peak during these 2 months. Just then, a text message came through on my phone. I picked it up and saw a deposit of more than 90 billion. At the same time, Shenjixia called. As soon as I answered, her voice came through. Chairman, did you receive the money? I gave a quiet response and said with satisfaction, you handled it well. Please come back, Chairman. Shenjixia hesitated, but finally spoke. In my opinion, what you're doing now is far too reckless. Also, the people who acquired Hengyu Group offered me a high salary to stay. I'm a fairly ambitious woman. I don't want to stay beside a man who sold off his parents' business and spent tens of billions building something useless. Fine. I'll have your salary for last month transferred to your card, I said calmly, then hung up with no expression on my face. Shenjixia leaving had no effect on me at all. Everyone has their own path. But if she left now and wanted to come back later, that would be nothing but wishful thinking. Boss. Outside the villa, a burly man in a black suit walked in. I picked up my teacup, raised my eyes, and asked, how did it go? Boss, when have I ever let you down? Lu Biao chuckled. Our 100+ brothers all got demon tattoos, and they're all orphans with no attachments. They are absolutely loyal to you, boss. At that point, he lowered his voice. Boss, is the apocalypse coming? That's right. I didn't hide it from him, because he was a brother who had risked his life with me. He once took a knife for me. No wonder you've been making such big moves, boss. Then what do the tattoos have to do with the apocalypse? You'll know when the time comes. I said, Lu Biao, to avoid accidents, take some men and supervise the project in the western suburbs. It would be best to finish it within 10 days. After that, we'll still need a few days to transport all kinds of supplies. Lu Biao nodded heavily. Boss, I'll head over right now. After he left, I dialed a mysterious number. Little yeah, you've really caused quite a commotion this past month. As soon as the call connected, an elderly voice came through. Elder Qin Zhenghong, you're flattering me. I exchanged a polite line, then got straight to the point. I want to buy 160 billion worth of gold. Elder Qin Zhenghong, can you help me? What do you need that much gold for? Elder Qin Zhenghong, can you not ask? As I spoke, I directly transferred 1 billion to his account. No one knew better than me that once disaster arrived and the unified currency was issued, this money would depreciate heavily. Fine, I'll help you. The other side had probably seen the deposit notification. He had been asking questions a moment ago, but now he agreed immediately. Thank you, Elder Qin Zhenghong. Can it be handled within a week? Yes, when the time comes, gold in one hand, money in the other. After chatting with him for a bit, I ended the call. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, it was May 28th. In the Gobi area of Longjiang City's western suburbs, a massive shelter that cost nearly 10 billion and covered over 500,000 square meters stood there like a small city. The visual impact was overwhelming. The heavy city wall was over 600 meters tall and more than 20 meters thick. At intervals, wind turbines stood tall. Above the shelter, an electric grid covered the sky to prevent attacks from vicious birds. Countless solar panels were fixed on the city walls. Not only were the walls made with reinforced concrete, but the ground inside the shelter was the same. Even the lower layer and surface were covered with thick steel plates. After the mutation of heaven and earth, aside from tattooed people, everything would evolve. Creatures like rats and ants would become extremely dangerous. Looking inside the walls, rows of buildings stood everywhere, enough to support tens of thousands of people. Oh my god, what a massive monster of a place. Why would the richest man in Longjiang City build a shelter like this? I heard he even sold Hengyu Group. Is the apocalypse from novels and movies really about to happen? Outside the shelter, many streamers and crowds who had traveled from far away just to watch the spectacle were gathered. Looking at the massive structure before them, all of them were stunned beyond words. Miss Shen, with your relationship with him, do you really know nothing about the inside story behind this shelter? Inside a luxury business car, a stunning woman with an elegant and noble manner withdrew her gaze from the massive structure in the distance and looked at Shen Jixia beside her. This woman was the real person behind the acquisition of Hengyu Group, Xia Yu, the daughter of the Xi family, one of the 5 great families in the capital. Shen Jixia shook her head bitterly. The boss really didn't tell me anything. If you know him, you should know what kind of person he is. I do know him. I've dealt with him more than once. He really is a man no one can see through. As far as I know, the supplies shipped inside a few days ago could support tens of thousands of people for at least 3 years if stored properly. Why would he do this? She wasn't the only one confused. Countless financial groups across Dragon Nation were puzzled too, but none of them thought in the direction of an apocalypse. Even if they knew, though, it would already be too late to do anything. Just then, dust suddenly rose from the distant ground. More than 100 military jeeps surrounded a luxury business car as they drove toward the shelter. They're here! They're here! Everyone, take a look! That should be the convoy of Ye Xuanchen, the richest man in Longjiang City. The streamers at the scene all aimed their phones at the massive convoy rolling in. The convoy ignored the watching streamers and crowds, then stopped outside the unbelievably heavy steel gate. At that moment, the massive iron gate slowly opened, and the convoy entered the shelter. Chairman, I lived up to your expectations. I can swear on my life that this shelter is worthy of your trust.